So I know what you all are going to say. Langston 2092, you're late to the party. The Matrix Resurrection, I think that's the name of the movie, came out 2-3 weeks ago, and we've already had movie critics analyze it and give their point of view of why the movie actually sucked. So, pause. Langston, what are you going to say that everyone else, including Rotten Tomatoes, has already said? What are you going to say opposite of that? Or what are you going to bring to the table that's new? And I'll tell you this. Yes, true indeed. There have been quite a few movie critics out there that have given their point of view of why The Matrix Resurrection was trash, garbage, etc. But I as of yet have heard the real reason why it's trash. Just as well as the Terminator movies too, as well. And I know what you're going to say. Well, Langston, what are you talking about? The Terminator movies don't have anything to do with the Matrix movies. Oh, yes, they do. And I'll explain it to you. The reason why The Matrix Resurrection, just as well as Part 2 and 3, was garbage, the reason why Terminator after Part 2, the Terminator movies after Part 2 were garbage, is because that, for one, you had several different producers, you know what I'm saying, from the Terminator series. The original producer that came out with Terminator was James Cameron. That's the first thing. The second thing, both of the stories of Terminator Part 1 and The Matrix Part 1 was stolen. They stole that story from an African American woman that wrote a book called The Third Eye back in the 80s. And her name is Sophia Stewart. This is the reason why Terminator Part 1 and The Matrix Part 1 were great. And they've been trying to come out with a Matrix and a Terminator that was just as good, if not better, than the first ones, but they can't. Because the storyline was stolen. Like Sophia Stewart, they stole, especially the Matrix. When it comes to the machines, when it came to Neo and what he had on, they stole everything from her. Because she had illustrations in the book of how the machines looked, how Neo looked. Matter of fact, the slogan, the famous slogan that Arnold Schwarzenegger has said in the Terminator movies, "I'll be back," they stole that from her too. And this is nothing new. This is what white America continues to do. But I will say this, it's our fault as African Americans, because we take no pride in what we invent or innovate. And white people see it and they say, well, you're not going to use it, we'll use it. And what's even more fucked up is they'll take what we created, like rock and roll. See, y'all didn't know that, right? Some of you white people didn't know that. Some of you millennials and Generation Z white people didn't know that. But they'll take rock and roll and they'll whitewash it, right? And they'll sell that shit back to us as if we didn't create it. And it's crazy because there wouldn't be a white America without black people. Black people literally built this country for free. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, I'm about to go to sleep. Here we go with the slavery thing again. See, you could say that because your race wasn't enslaved for over 400 years working for free. So it's nothing to you. It means nothing to you. But I can tell you that this is the truth. And that's the reality. And I know what you all are going to say, some of you racist white people. Oh, we didn't come here for no history. nothing about no history or about no Sophia Stewart and none of that, and blah, 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 and this and that and so forth. No history lessons, that is, on slavery and what black people created and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, you see that? You see how it's optional for you to learn about black history? But it wasn't optional for me to learn about your history in high school. I had to know who Abraham Lincoln is. I had to know who George Washington was. Alexander the Great. I had to know about the Civil War in order to pass my test in world history, civics class. I had to know your history. But here in white America, it's optional for you to know mine. And this is the reason why a lot of shit it gets overlooked or whitewashed. I can give you several different names of people that you don't know, and you use their shit almost every damn day. Like Lonnie Johnson, I ain't gonna say it every day, but in the summertime, Lonnie Johnson, the inventor of the Super Soaker. Like, whenever you play Xbox, PlayStation, PS5, Nintendo Switch, know that prior to all of those video game consoles, Sega Genesis, Atari, Super Nintendo, TurboGrafx 16, ColecoVision, prior to all of those video game consoles, there was a black man named Jerry Lawson that created the first video game console and video game cartridge. That every time you eat a potato chip, especially when you're looking at the Super Bowl, you're looking at basketball, Final Four. Every time you eat a potato chip, think about George Crumb. That was a black man that created the potato chip. I could go on with this. When you think about Star Wars, you know who the main character is? Don't front. If it weren't for Darth Vader, guess what? Star Wars wouldn't be shit. And who is the voice of Darth Vader? James Earl Jones, a black man. I could go on. I could go on about the monkey wrench, the street light. I could go on. But this is what white America doesn't teach you. They don't teach that to black people, and neither do they teach it to themselves. So this is nothing new. This is the reason why The Matrix Resurrection is a garbage movie. Because they didn't go back to the mother of The Matrix to get the rest of the story. Had they gone back to Sophia Stewart and allowed her to tell the story, that shit would have been out of sight. But once again, they took a black woman's idea and or story, in this case, as far as dealing with the Matrix, without her permission, and made millions off of that. Millions and billions of dollars. And now everybody, boy, this movie, this was one of the most anticipated movies that, we've seen in years. And it comes out and the movie is garbage. And I'm here to tell you, you white folks that are highly disappointed, as well as blacks, but in particular white people, the reason why it was garbage is because the mother of the Matrix wasn't involved. That plain and simple. And white America have to start giving props where props is due. Like, I could go on with the movies that have stolen and took her story. For real, it's not just the Matrix and the Terminator series. It's not. It's not just those two movies. There are a shit more of movies that have taken from Sophia Stewart and never gave credit where credit is due. And it just bugs me out. that if it weren't for black people, man, America, white America wouldn't even exist. I mean, when you look at stem cell, who stem cells, whose cells were they using in the very beginning in order to pop off this whole stem cell shit? Oh, I know, an African American woman by the name of Henrietta Lacks. I could go on with it. I seen on the news the other day, this was a couple weeks ago. They were like, there is a hand, a handshake that we use, and white America uses, that slows down and prevents the spread of the 19 virus, and it's called the fist pump. So instead of making a handshake like this, that could potentially spread the virus. When you're doing a fist pump, that decreases the spread of the virus and variants as well. Well, oh really? Well, let me tell you something. Who created that so-called fist pump? I can tell you, black people created that in the early 90s. And it wasn't called a fist pump. It was called pound. And we did it like that first. Then we did it like that. And you know why it was created? Oh, I'll tell you, white America. I'll tell you. Because we went to do this one day. And a dude pulled his hand back and was like, yo, man, I don't know where your hand's been. Just give me a pound. Boom! Must I go on? At the end of the day, seriously, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be a racist. And it's crazy because you all will call me a racist because I'm telling the truth. But behind every inventor, white inventor, innovator, there's a great black inventor and innovator. That your race has stole so much from black people till it's ridiculous. But you wouldn't know that because it's optional for you to know it. And it's mandatory for me. It's optional for you to know my history, and it's mandatory for me to know yours. And that's crazy to me. Come 100 years from now, for real, hip-hop will be whitewashed. And the black people will be the ones that I'm gonna pass on my history, my black history to my family. And they're gonna teach their children's children. And I bet you my children's children will be arguing with your children's children who created hip-hop in the near future. And it bothers me, man, that y'all won't give us shit. Nothing. You, the pale Arabs in Middle East won't give us Egypt. No. Ain't no way in the hell, niggas. According to white people. According to these pale Arabs that exist in the Middle East. That want to tear down the pyramids. Because in their religion, they can't have no ideology worship and images and shit like that. Which makes no sense, because if you don't want the pyramids up there because it's adultery, idol worship, and all the rest of that shit, well, you should kill yourself. You can't have no images there. When you are an image, you should kill yourself. And it's in your religion too, white people. In Christianity, I think it's in Exodus 20 verse 4 or 20 verse 6, where it said, thou shalt not have no images of the heavens and the skies, etc., etc. No graven images. So guess what? You got to get rid of that damn Jesus that died on the cross. You got to get rid of that cross that you wear around your neck. But yeah, according to white people and pale Arabs that exist in the Middle East, so-called Middle East, that don't even make sense. Middle East? We ain't gonna go there though. But in the Middle East, ain't nowhere in the world black people built those pyramids. No. Well, who built them? Because if I look at the movies, according to the movies, it's Arabs that were the Egyptians or white people. But then, I look at Egyptologists and they're Arabs and white people digging up fucking sarcophagus of pharaohs trying to find out what the ancient Egyptians ate, how they built the pyramids. Well, if you were the ones that were the original Egyptians, wouldn't you know that? So they say, you know what? Scratch that. Yeah, you know, white people they weren't the original Egyptians. Neither were the pale Arabs. Definitely not the black people. So who built the pyramids? It was aliens. You see that? You can't even give us that, even though that there's pyramids that look and that are designed similar to the pyramids in Cairo, in Sudan, and Nubia. So who built those? Who built Timbuktu? Y'all are a joke. And it's that plain and simple. And I know what you're going to say. This is way off the subject and blah, 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 blah. I had to get your white attention. I had to get your white attention. If I didn't use this as clickbait, you would have never known half of the shit that I've said. And neither would you care to research. That plain and simple. But yeah, man. The reason why the Matrix and the Terminator movies after part 1, Terminator, in the case of Terminator, part 2 was pretty decent. But after that, part 2 of the Matrix, it was the same. Part 2 and 3 was basically the same type of shit that was in part 1. Part 1 of the Matrix can never be duplicated, outdone, any of that. We'll always remember part 1. Just like Nas, if you know who Nas is, we'll always remember Illmatic. And nothing Nas put out after that was better than Illmatic. Same thing with The Matrix Part 1. Same thing with Terminator. And just to think that the Matrix, the mother of the Matrix, is an African American woman named Sophia Stewart. That plain and simple. So, white America, let's see if you go out and tell the truth. Let people know that black people are the shit in the most positive way. And see, this is the problem. There are some people in white America, there are some white people in white America that know the truth. The reason why they don't want to expose the truth to everyone, because, you know, then you won't look at white people the same. White people won't have that so-called white supremacy. Because they'll see, oh, whoa, hold up. You mean to tell me white people didn't invent that? White people didn't do that? White people didn't do this? White people didn't do that? Yo, white America, you need to look at the man and the woman in the mirror and face reality and give respect where respect is due. If it weren't for black people, America wouldn't even be so-called great. So when your man, I don't even want to say his name, Chump, I'll say that, Chump said make America great again. Yeah, in order to make it great again, you got to put black people back on a pedestal. Because we built this fucking country. So if it's great, we made it great. That plain and simple. One last thing and then I'm done. When you turn on your video games to play, you turn on your PS5 to play your video games. When you're talking on the cell phone, when you're using your laptop, your PC, and your tablet, or driving your brand new car, It has a chip in it. Think about this. That chip is made out of coltan. And that metal comes from Africa. Congo, to be exact. So without black people and without Africa, you all will be going back to the dark ages. Remember that shit. And please, 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 you white racist people. I'm not talking about the good white people. The good white people that deal with equality and that will tell the truth. I'm talking about you racist ass motherfucking white people. Please, leave it in the comment section. Tell me one thing out of this 20-minute video that I said that was wrong. Please, entertain me. Because I, one, am highly intelligent, and two, I know my history. Other than that, for those that are new to the channel, I want you to like, comment, subscribe, definitely share this video.